The following is a production of WCMP Sports. It's time for a high school basketball matchup here on WCMP. As we are set to watch the Pine City Dragons face off against the East Central Eagles. Tip-off will be coming up here shortly. We'll head to the court now for the pregame.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's broadcast of high school basketball here on WCMP. We're on WCMPradio.com for right now until a little bit later on after Santa's Hotline. Then we will get back to on air. So if you're listening right now, or I should say watching on the YouTube channel from our website, just know that we are not currently on air because Santa's Hotline is on. Santa's Hotline running from 6 to 8 p.m. or around that mark. So if you have a child who would like to talk to Santa Claus here this evening, go ahead and give our station a call at 320-629-7575. Your child can talk to Santa Claus, let them know what they want for Christmas, and Santa will do his best to get that on the list for the year, but that's going to run again until about 8 o'clock. So once that is over, we will be back on the airwaves, and we will be on 100.9 FM. So if you've got family or friends or anybody who is looking to watch or listen to this game tonight, maybe they're on the road or maybe they just like to listen to the radio, just let them know that, yes, we will be on the air eventually. Just we won't be until around that after 7:30 mark to be safe, but closer to that 8 o'clock mark just because of Santa's Hotline happening this evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Of course, we do have the boys hockey game on the air here tonight over on 106.5 FM, AM 1350. Andrew Duvall on the call in that game. He'll have that one for you over there where the Pine City boys are taking on Princeton here this evening. That should be a fun one there. That's a Mississippi 8 conference game there for the Pine City Dragons. But in our game, it's the Pine City Dragons taking on the East Central Eagles in a Great River Conference matchup. We got a couple of Great River Conference matchups going on here tonight. One right here on this channel, and then over on 95.5 FM after Santa's Hotline, it'll be Rush City boys taking on the Bram Bombers in Rush City. That should be another good one as well. But a ton of basketball action so far here this year, and hockey as well. And it should be a fun season here for these local sports. I'm so excited to be back out here for the winter sports season and be able to call these games. I've called a couple already, had to stop because, well, kind of lost my voice with a cold, but I'm back. I'm good to go, hopefully. And should be a fun one here tonight between the Pine City Dragons and the East Central Eagles. Of course, had a earlier preseason interview with the Pine City Dragons boys basketball head coach Kyle Allen. That was even before the season began. I was able to get that interview in, so able to kind of get an interview with him, just talk about the upcoming season, the players, and the schedule. And if you haven't listened to that interview, go ahead. You can go to our website. Just go to WCMPradio.com, go to the sports tab, click on interviews, and you can scroll down to the Kyle Allen interview for the winter sports season. And just recently, I was finally able to get an interview with the East Central Eagles head coach, Darren Fote, and we'll hear that. I'll give you a little sneak preview of that interview that you will eventually be able to hear on our website at WCMPradio.com. So we're here in Pine City High School where the Pine City Dragons are getting set to take on the East Central Eagles in their home opener of the season, and they will be playing against, again, a Great River Conference opponent in the East Central Eagles. So we'll take a commercial break here, word from our fine sponsors, then I'll kind of give you a preview of that interview with the East Central head coach Darren Fote, and then we'll be back here to talk more about this upcoming game between the Eagles and the Dragons. You're listening to basketball right now on WCMPradio.com.
No appointment? No problem. Injuries and feeling ill don't always happen during normal business hours. That's why Wellia Health has urgency services open 7 days a week. Urgency Services in Pine City offers the care you need when you need it. Hours are now 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. No need to call or make an appointment. Just stop in. When tomorrow isn't soon enough and normal business hours just won't do, you can count on Wellia Health to be there for you. Live life well at Wellia Health.
We are now joined by the East Central boys basketball head coach, Darren Fote. First question I have for you, how many years have you been coaching?
Oh, boy. Varsity here at East Central since 2017-18.
And then now we've had a couple of games here that you guys have completed, and looking at the roster, how's the roster shaping up? Have you got a good mix of players, young and veteran, or is it more leaning one way?
No, I'd say we have a good mix. I've got a couple of nice senior starters in Kyle McDonald and Nathan Zielinski, and then I go junior with Jacob Dixon, and then I throw a freshman in there with Ben Carlin. I've got Warren Carlson, he's a junior, and then my first two guys off the bench are both freshmen, Xavier Letexier and Braden Olson.
Who are the captains for the team this year?
Nathan Zielinski and Kyle McDonald, my seniors.
All right, and as I've mentioned before, we've got 3 games in the books already. What is something, though, that you look forward to this season as it continues on?
I think, I've been here long enough now. These guys have been with me so many years. I want to continue to see, and I am seeing this, I want to continue to see more of the player-led everything, I guess, so that, they say teams that are led by coaches can be good, but teams that are led by players can be great, and that's what I see more and more out of my seniors as they come up, that they're taking more leadership. Nathan Zielinski has taken an incredible leadership role with the guys. He leads the workouts with them in the off season. They have a really good lifting program that is led by him. He's done an awesome job of that, and Kyle is along there with them. I think that following in their footsteps, they're teaching other guys how to do it. Next year, Jacob Dixon and Warren Carlson will be excellent leaders for us, and it'll be, player-led lifting sessions and shooting sessions with them. So I think that is one of the biggest things that I have going here.
Yeah, and what is it like to be able to have that senior leadership who, that takes that role and runs with it and makes sure that they've got the team behind them? And you mentioned it, getting the guys in during the summer to work out even.
Right. It takes a lot off of a coach's mind. It lets you know that, hey, what we're doing is working. And, one thing that you can imagine when that happens, and that we don't have any NBA players coming out of here, but that leads in all aspects of life. If you learn to lead in a high school level, if it has to do with extracurricular activities or whatever, but if you're a good leader now, you'll be a good leader later as you go through your life, regardless of what you end up doing in life. This is where
Since 1967, Schmidt Construction, general contractor in Hinckley, has been where to go for all your building projects. Let Gerald Schmidt help you with designing, remodeling, or any new construction. Schmidt Construction specializes in residential home building, agricultural, industrial, and commercial buildings. With expert advice on all of your building projects and ideas, when you hire a contractor to take care of your building needs, you can't do better than Schmidt Construction, general contractor in Hinckley. 320-384-7901.
Back here on WCMPradio.com, Ethan Game Day Gilman joining you here this evening for this Great River Conference matchup between the Pine City Dragons at home against the East Central Eagles. Got about 3 minutes here before our pregame festivities end, and then we'll be set for tip-off here in this Great River Conference battle. And it should be a fun one, looking at these two teams as we go and look at their games played already. Pine City has only played one game so far. Yeah, they've only played one, and that was against Painesville, and they lost that game 60-48. But again, I always say, especially in basketball and hockey, when you're early in the season like this, I don't think the first 4, 5, maybe even 6 games sometimes really show how well a team is going to do, or how what they're going to look like even 2-3 weeks after that, because a lot can change. The lineups can change. The scheme can change a little bit. So I always take those first couple games with a grain of salt, just because again it can change so much within those first couple of weeks. So I would say that Pine City is going to look a lot different here tonight than they did against Painesville. In Painesville, I think this will be a good one, a good battle between these two teams. I think Pine City and East Central, this is always a fun game when these two teams play. It's always back and forth. It's always great competition, and of course with Darren Vogt, the East Central head coach, he kind of talked about it, how they're in summer camps together. They played together in summer camps for basketball, and they know each other really well. And he and Coach Kyle Allen text back and forth quite often, and so it's just great to hear that they can have such good, close relationships within their programs and still be able to do battle like this and still keep it. All the sportsmanship that they play with and still keep it together and play so well against each other is always fun to see. And I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be fast-paced. I think we're going to see this game kind of go very quickly to begin with. I think Pine City, that's kind of the way they like to play. That's the way they kind of want to play. Get up on the board quickly, shoot those threes and get those rebounds, and then get back on defense and get the ball back for their offense to get into the front court. And I think East Central, they're going to play that way a little bit as well. I think that, they're a team who is going to look for those open shots, but they're also a nitty-gritty team. In that interview with Coach Vogt, that will be up on WCMPradio.com later on, he kind of mentions that, a couple of his players went out in that Red Wing tournament due to injuries. A couple of them were in concussion protocol. One went down with a bad ankle sprain. So these guys for East Central are tough. For both teams are so tough. And for East Central, they're sitting at 1-2 right now, but 1-0 in the section. And they lost 2 straight games to Red Wing and Hastings, like I mentioned. But then they beat Mille Lacs, and now they're here against Pine City this evening. So it should be a good one here. We're just about set for tip-off, and we're going to get our national anthem and our starting lineups. And we'll be back after a short commercial break with tip-off on the other side of this break. You're listening to High School Boys Basketball.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a 4-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Isanti has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment. Highway 65 in Isanti. Or visit MinnesotaEquipment.com.
Hey, I'm Chad Greenway. When I was playing, I loved chasing down running backs. But you shouldn't have to chase your bank around when you're buying a home. Franzen Bank and Trust Mortgage Consultants will be with you stride for stride, like a linebacker on a running back, from pre-approval to closing and beyond. Let Franzen Bank guide you through the mortgage process. Learn more at franzenbank.com/getThere. Franzen Bank and Trust. Real people, real results. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer, that signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on-site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat, and they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
Most Americans do not have a proper will or estate plan in place. Many of you listening have been putting off that important task for a long time. Stop waiting and contact Spear & Swanson today. Spear & Swanson can help you put together a tight legal estate plan to make sure the assets you've been working so hard to obtain get passed on to your loved ones in the way that best fits you. Spear & Swanson, attorneys at law in Pine City. Call 320-629-7586. That's 320-629-7586.
Choose the right divorce attorney. Spear & Swanson will make sure the judge knows your side of the story. Let them help you with your divorce, custody, child support, harassment, or orders for protection. They also handle DWIs and other legal matters. The right divorce attorney does make a difference. That's why you need to choose Spear & Swanson, attorneys at law in Pine City. Call 320-620-7586.
Back here on WCMPradio.com, Ethan Game Day Gilman alongside you. here for tonight's game between the Pine City Dragons and the East Central Eagles. This is a Great River Conference battle between these two teams, and your starting lineups for this evening for the East Central Eagles will be number 1, Warren Carlson, number 4, Xavier Letexier, number 23, Nathan Zielinski, number 24, Jacob Dixon, and number 32, Ben Carlin. And then on the other side for the Pine City Dragons, it'll be number 14, Isaiah Haas, 23, Luke Wilson, 24, Lamont Sidney, 31, Mason Charles, and 32, Riley Cummings. The Pine City Dragons will be going from right to left on your radio dial. The Eagles from left to right. And if you're a directions person, the Dragons go from east to west. Well, they'll be going east, I should say. They're facing west. Yeah, there we go. The Eagles facing east. I apparently can't do it. Sidney and Dixon will go at it for the tip-off, and it's going to be won by the Eagles. It's Letexier giving it off to Carlson, who now gives it to Carlin. Carlin on the near side, passes it to Letexier. Letexier trying to drive inside. He stops at the free throw line, gives it off to Carlson. Carlson finds a lane. He's going to try and drive to the basket, picks up his dribble, gives it off to Dixon. Dixon, probably the tallest guy out there, and that's saying something because he's got Lamont Sidney on him, and that ball is going to be poked out, stolen for the moment by Charles. Mason Charles, a very aggressive player. We seen him play a little bit last year, and he got into some foul trouble sometimes, but that's just because of his aggressive play. He plays so aggressively, and I think that is something that should be watched because I think he's cleaned up his game a lot from last year. He played so aggressively. Sometimes they worked against him because he got some fouls, but this year looks like the intensity is right back with him. And now Lamont Sidney going to get a steal. He goes the other way, puts it up off the backboard and in for 2 for Lamont Sidney. And he gets the steal as well. So Lamont Sidney with the steal and 2 the other way. And the Dragons lead 2-0 here with 17 minutes to go in the first half. Now with it is Zielinski for the Eagles, trying to drive inside, stops on his drive, and then gives it off here to Dixon. And now we're going to get a push on the Dragons. It will be the first foul of the game here for the Dragons, and it's going to go against Charles. That's a tough one because the Eagle player kind of leaned into him to draw that foul. And that's just a good job by that Eagle player. And that ball, trying to get it out of some trouble, did Letexier. He threw it off of the Pine City defender, and it almost was stolen away, but the Dragon player was standing on the boundary line. So Eagles will hold on to it. That inbound pass goes to Letexier from Carlin. He goes all the way across court to Carlson. Now gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski trying to go inside to Dixon. Dixon passes it back out to Letexier for 3. That's just off the mark, and that's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by Lamont Sidney, who tried to tip it back towards his teammates, but just couldn't get enough on it, so it will stay with the Eagles. 2-0 is the score, the lead for Pine City. 16:45 to go. Letexier will try for 3 again. That's no good. Rebounded by Carlin. And Carlin going to put it up, kiss it off the backboard, in for 2. It's tied at 2 here between the Eagles and the Dragons. Taking it up the court is Luke Wilson. Ball handler, very good for the Dragons. He really stepped up last year with his leadership. Now he's going to work it inside, and he'll give it off to Cummings. Now off to Haas for 3, and that's just off the mark. Fighting for the rebound, but getting it is Dixon for the Eagles, and he's going to give it off now to Zielinski. Zielinski's going to work it up on the court near side, trying to drive on Charles. Gets to go past him. Now gives it off to Letexier, far side now to Dixon. Dixon top of the key, gives it off to Carlson. Carlson is bumped by Sidney. Then he just tosses it in the air to Dixon. It's stolen away by Isaiah Haas. And now taking it to the basket, that is Luke Wilson, who puts it up and in for 2, and that'll give the Dragons a 4-2 lead with just under 16 minutes to go. Letexier has it on the far side, going to give it off here to Zielinski. Zielinski trying to work inside. Nice Euro step, but that ball is going to be swatted out of bounds by Luke Wilson. That pass was going to Dixon, but Wilson shot out of a cannon to knock that ball out of bounds. Eagles will retain possession. Carlin will look to inbound. He'll get it inbounded to Letexier on the far side. Letexier double team, tries to get it over the Dragon defender hands. He does, but it goes well over the head of his teammate. Out of bounds, so the Dragons will take over with it. Looks like Riley Cummings will look to inbound to Luke Wilson. Wilson gets away from the defender, and now he's trying to get it into the front court. He got it in the front court. Now trying to work past one defender. Gets into a double team in the paint, and now we're going to get a travel call on the Dragons. So they will turn it over to the Eagles with 15:26 to go. The Eagles will inbound to Letexier. Letexier and their ball handler so far here this evening. He's going to work it to the front court now on the far side. He gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski trying to drive on the far side. Stops his dribble just inside the perimeter. Then gives it off on the near side to Carlin. Carlin in the near side corner. Three-point shot is no good. And it's going to be, ooh. That was definitely last touch by Sidney, but they're going to say it's off of Dixon. So the Dragons catch a break on that one, and they will get to inbound. Lamont Sidney will look to inbound, and he's going to get it to Wilson. Wilson guarded well there by Carlson, and he gives it off to Mason Charles on the far side. He works it into the front court now. Charles pass far side to Isaiah Haas, now inside to Lamont Sidney. Sidney trying to work around the defender, Dixon. He gives it back out to Charles, now on the far side to Haas. Haas right back to the top of the key to Charles. Charles gives it off now to Luke Wilson. Wilson trying to work around the defender Carlson. Works inside, now gives it off to Lamont Sidney here, near side elbow for three. That's good! Lamont Sidney on the board for a three that time, and he leads the team with 5 points now. 7-2 is the lead for Pine City. Dixon, he'll give it near side to Carlin. Carlin goes back inside to Dixon. Dixon, hook shot from the right is no good. That's going to be knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Eagles. And right there, trying to get it as well, was Riley Cummings. And now we're going to have a couple new guys check in here for the Dragons. It is going to be number 4, Charles Osmus, and number 11, Ashton Seals. And Osmus, kind of a fan and team favorite. He's just kind of a guy who they love to cheer on. As now the Dragons have it in their front court, and Mont Sidney has it on the far side. He's going to try and work around the defender Carlson, and he spins around, gives it off now. Luke Wilson for three. That's no good. Trying to get the rebound was Charles Osmus, but Letexier going to come down with it. Letexier has it, working it to the far side on the front court. Now gives off to Warren Carlson. He puts up a three-point shot. That's well short. Going to be rebounded here by Riley Cummings, and he'll give it off now to Luke Wilson. Wilson takes it up the court. He's going to be double-teamed quickly, and he'll bounce pass to Lamont Sidney, top of the key. Sidney dribbles it away from the defender. Letexier drives inside, puts up a shot off his back foot. No good. Rebounded there by Zielinski. Zielinski will take it up the court for the Eagles. On the near side, driving past one defender, goes inside, loses possession of the ball, somehow gets it back, puts up a shot off the backboard and in for two. I don't know how Zielinski kept track of that ball or how he held on to it, but he did. And Zielinski will get the Eagles on the board and cut the lead down to 3 now for the Dragons. It's 7-4 here with 13:28 to go in the first half. It has been more of a quick pace here in the first half for both these teams, but not able to get on the board. Eagles' defense has been really good. The Dragons have not been able to find really any open zones here on that defense, or when they're on offense. And the Eagles, they've just had a couple of unlucky draws go their way where they're trying to pass it deep inside underneath the basket, and the ball goes out of bounds off a hand, and it gets called on that is last out of bounds on them, or they don't get the rebound. And but the Eagles working hard to keep this within reach, and they have with that shot there. And now working it up the court from the inbound is Luke Wilson on the far side. He slips, now gives it off to Lamont Sidney, who is on that far side. He's trying to work around Letexier. He goes inside, he gets double teamed, now out to Luke Wilson. Wilson into the corner, and now that's Ashton Seals for three. That shot is up and no good. Rebounded here by Riley Cummings. Riley Cummings gives it off to Seals. He goes inside, puts up a shot high off the backboard, but it's in for two from Ashton Seals. That's 9-4 now, the lead for the Dragons with just under 13 minutes to go. It's Zielinski trying to work it up the court around Seals. He gives it off now to number 12 for the Eagles. Instead, inside to Dixon, who puts it up off the glass. No good. Rebounded there by Riley Cummings. Up the court quickly to Luke Wilson. And Luke Wilson, he went to the basket, but it's going to be a foul call there on 12. And that young man just checked into the game. That is Braden Olson. Braden Olson will be the guilty Eagle there. It's a first team foul. One team foul for each team here. And Luke Wilson will get the inbound close over and back, but he was over that line before getting the ball. And now he's on the far side, gives it off to Charles Osmus. Osmus trying to work inside, gives it off now to Plajek. Nick Plajek gives it off to Wilson here in the near side corner. He's now trying to work around it. One defender gives it off to Sidney. Sidney can't handle it cleanly, but he gets it, brings it in. Now trying to get inside, going inside the paint, puts up a shot. He's fouled on his way up, and he's going to go to the line and shoot two. Will Lamont Sidney. And I didn't see who the Guilty Eagle was that day. It's going to be Dixon. Dixon, the Guilty Eagle, and Lamont Sidney at the line to shoot 2. He's good on his first to make it 10-4 with 12:19 to go. And checking into the game now for the Dragons is going to be number 12, Aiden Austinson. He played football this year for the Dragons and did a pretty good job. So Lamont Sidney made 1, and he makes both. Lamont Sidney converts both free throws, and now it's 11-4 lead here for the Dragons. Eagles have it up the court. It's Braden Olson. Braden Olson nearly has that stolen away from Lamont Sidney, but instead gets inside to Dixon. Dixon wanted to go to Zielinski. He wants Olson, and now gives it back out to Letexier, who puts up a shot. It's no good, and a charge call on the Eagles. Letexier trying to drive inside, but the defender got his feet planted before he went through, and that foul will be on Letexier. It's his first, the team's third. The Dragons will get it back. It's Charles Osmus who gives it off here to Austinson. Austinson up the court on the far side, putting his back to the defender. Gets a screen here from Lamont Sidney, and now he wanted to go to Lamont Sidney. He does inside. Lamont passes it inside to Nick Plajic. Plajic does somehow get it. He's on the court and somehow gets it off to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson on the near side. He'll put up a shot. It's no good, and Lamont Sidney, I don't know how Lamont didn't get fouled on that one. A bunch of hands going at his face, and he's okay, though. They're going to let these guys battle here tonight. I like it. So that ball is going to be last touched out of bounds by the Eagles. Pine City will hold on to it. Luke Wilson will inbound. Wilson, a deep inbound here to Charles Osmus. Now gives it off to Austinson. Austinson, standing on the near side elbow, looks for a screen from Lamont Sidney. It doesn't work the way he would have liked. Wilson into the near far side corner for Charles Osmus. It's no good on the 3. Lamont Sidney gets the rebound, and he has it stolen away. Stolen away there by, I believe that's number 2, Ramsey Kiernan. And now inside, Jacob Dixon up off the glass, in for 2. That'll make it 11-6. So Ramsey Kiernan checks into the game for the Eagles for the first time here tonight. And the 3 from Luke Wilson is no good. It's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by the Eagles. Excuse me, it's last touch by the Dragons. So the Eagles will take possession. They'll inbound. It goes to Letexier. Letexier, he'll work it to the far side. Now gets it back to Olson, now to Kiernan. And Kiernan, they're going to say he traveled. Kiernan does not agree with that call, and I kind of agree. Didn't think he traveled, but stick with the referee's calls because, again, they're on the court. I am not. Austinson will inbound here to Luke Wilson, and Wilson starts with it on their own back court. Now he works it into the front court on the near side, gets a screen, a mini screen from Plajic all the way over to Austinson. Austinson for 3. That's going to be just long, and rebounded here by the Eagles. Zielinski gives it off to Kiernan on the far side. Kiernan works around one defender, then gives it back to Letexier. Letexier back to Kiernan. Kiernan thought about 3 and said he's going to drive inside. Lamont Sidney tried to go up for the block, and they're going to say Kiernan. Interesting. They're going to say Kiernan traveled on that one. I didn't see it, but interesting. So Riley Cummings, Mason Charles, and Isaiah Haas check back into the game. For Lamont Sidney, Nick Plajic, and Charles Osmus. Luke Wilson up the court with it. His team leads 11-6 with 10-12 to go. Austinson thought about 3 on the far side, instead drives inside, puts up a little floater in and out of the basket. No good. Rebounded twice there by Riley Cummings. He got his own rebound on one of them and then put it up and in for 2 on the other. It's 13-6 now. The Eagles go the other way. Zielinski trying to drive inside. He backs out, guarded well by Mason Charles, and now he gives it off here to Olson. Olson fakes the defender. He goes inside, up off the glass and in for 2. He got around the defender, Isaiah Haas, with a nice stutter step to work it inside and up and in for 2. 13-8 is the score. 9:40 to go. Luke Wilson on the near side with it in the front court. Pass to Austinson in the far side corner for Isaiah Haas for 3. It's good. Isaiah Haas, you knew at one point he was going to get on the board, and he does there with a 3, 16-8. Seems like now the points are starting to tally up as now the Eagles have it. It's Carlson who gives it off here to Zielinski, and I believe it's going to be the Dragons who get called for the foul. Let's see who they hit this one on. Second team foul here for the Dragons. It's been pretty clean first half for both of these teams. And well, we're not gonna see who that other foul was on. Yeah, they did not put it up on the board. So I did not get to see who had that second foul there for Pine City. And that one could have, and it will be. So that one will go against Isaiah Haas. So Isaiah Haas will get his first, team's third, and now both teams have 3. Carlin will inbound here for the Eagles to Jacob Dixon. Dixon on the near side. He'll give it back to Carlin. Carlin all the way over to Letexier, looking for a screen, and doesn't get it, and he's going to work it on the far side, trying to go inside. He does to Dixon. Dixon trying to work inside against the defender, Cummings. Gives it back out to Letexier. Letexier drives the side, a little floater up, and no, it doesn't get the roll he would like, and it's going to be rebounded here by Riley Cummings. He has been their rebounder here tonight, and Luke Wilson will work it into the front court. Gives it into the far side corner, to Haas. Haas gives it back to him on the far side elbow. He's going to get a screen from Cummings. Now Luke Wilson will work it inside to the near side corner. Gives it to Austinson now on the elbow, does Haas. Austinson guarded well by Letexier. He gets a screen. Austinson going to give it off on the far side to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson going to work around one. Pass all the way across court to Austinson, but it's just above his head. And it will go out of bounds, and it will go back to the Eagles, who trail 16-8 with 8:34 to go here in the first half. Not a lot of scoring between these two teams. I thought we would have seen a lot more, but just unable to kind of find a rhythm on either side are these teams. Texier, he'll give it off now to Carlson. Carlson, who will give it off now to Zielinski. Zielinski spins around the defender, works inside, gives it off to Carlson for 3, no good. And getting the rebound somehow is Carlin. I don't know how he did, but he somehow did. That was a magic trick right there from Carlin, who got the rebound. 16-10 now the score. Austinson, nice spin move, trying to work inside the perimeter. He'll give it back to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson at the top of the key, trying to get around his defender. He works inside. Now he'll step back outside the perimeter. Shot is up from 3, but they're going to say no good, and we're going to get a foul here on Pine City. Again, I did not see who they called that one on. 11 on Ashton Seals. 4th team foul here for Pine City. His first, and now Letexier has it, gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski near side, trying to work inside on Austinson. That's Seals. He'll give it off to Carlin now in the near side corner. Gives it off to Dixon. Far side goes to Letexier for 3. That's no good, and an easy rebound there for Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson going to go up the court. He's got a 1-on-2 opportunity. No foul call there, as he probably could have. Instead, Ashton Seals gets it. Isaiah Haas tried to throw it off the defender. Letexier not too happy because that ball did hit out of bounds before Haas threw it off of Letexier, and it went off of Letexier's head. Haas didn't mean to do it, to be fair. Haas was not trying to purposely throw it off Letexier's head. That's just kind of how it happened, as Haas was trying to make a play. There wasn't any ill intent on that, but you have your right to how you want to feel, because as the player who got it thrown off his head, I'd be pretty upset too. Letexier's shot is no good, rebounded by Letexier, and instead it's going to be taken by Austinson, no good. Seals gets the rebound. And we get I believe it's a jump ball call. We'll stay with the Dragons. Nick Plajek, Lamont Sidney check in for Austinson and Seals. 16-10, exactly 7 minutes to go. Lamont Sidney, far side elbow. Oh, that's going to come up well short. But Riley Cummings gets the rebound. And now to Nick Plajek, back to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson on the near side, works at top of the key. Stops, gives it near side corner to Haas, inside to Sidney. Bounce pass to Plajek. Plajek shot up, blocked. And that was blocked by Dixon. Jacob Dixon with the block. Denied Nick Plajek of a 2 there, and it's 16-10. Pine City will hold on to it. Haas gives it off to Luke Wilson, the far side corner, who works at top of the key. Now gives it off to Plajek. Plajek goes inside to Sidney. Sidney wants to get inside instead. Double team. Now gives it back outside to Plajek. Plajek going to give it off to Wilson. Wilson trying to work inside. Nice handles. Step back three. No good. And Lamont Sidney trying to work for the rebound. Instead, it's Carlin who gets the rebound. And now he'll give it off here to Zielinski. Zielinski on the near side. Going to work inside. Trying to go inside to Dixon. Instead, it's stolen away here by Lamont Sidney, who tries to work inside. He stops on his drive, gives it back out to Haas. Haas now to Wilson. Wilson on the far side corner gives it to Haas. Haas trying to work inside. That pass is low for Riley Cummings. Cummings picks it up somehow, gets it off to Luke Wilson, who was left wide open for three, and he's going to drain those threes every single time. He makes it 19-10. Quickly go the Eagles back the other way. Letexier up the court on the far side now. Gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski guarded by Plajic. Guarded well by Plajic, but he's going to work inside anyways, trying to get it to Dixon. Dixon back outside to Letexier. Letexier going to drive inside, puts up a shot after stopping on his drive. No good, and it's going to be rebounded there by Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson working it up the court. Stops on the near side elbow here. No good on the three, and Ben Carlin going to come down with the rebound, but they're going to call a jump ball, and the possession arrow will favor the Eagles anyways. It's 19-10 with 5:35 to go. 5:35 to go here in the first half. The Dragons lead 19-10 over the East Central Eagles. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you've got people who are waiting to hear it on the radio, this will be on 100.9 after Santa's Hotline. So stay tuned. And that was Zielinski was left wide open for three. No good. Shot is up. No good. Rebounded by Dixon, and he was fouled as he went to put that one up for a shot. And he'll go to the line and shoot two. Will Jacob Dixon. That foul is going to go against Plajic. That's Nick Plajic's first, team's fifth, as Dixon at the line to shoot two. His team trails 19-10. Shot is up, no good for Jacob Dixon. Get a quick substitution here for Pine City. It's Nick Plajic who checks out. In for him is Ashton Seals. Dixon, no good on both, and Lamont Sidney right there for the rebound for Pine City, and he'll take it up the court. Sidney gets a screen from Cummings, and he passes it back outside to Seals. Seals, not sure where he wanted to go with it, goes to the top of the key. Now he'll give it inside to Cummings. Cummings back to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson stands alone, top of the key for three. Good! Luke Wilson, another three. It's 22-10 now. And the offense for Pine City seems to get going a little bit. Carlin, he'll have that one tipped and knocked out of bounds by Ashton Seals. And I recognize a ton of these names from football, as a good chunk of these guys for Pine City did play football. And a timeout called here by the East Central Eagles. With 4:50 to go here in the first half, they trail 22-10. On that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, custom braces or Invisalign with 3 locations in Pine City, Lynchburg, and Cambridge. Dr. Sievers at Embrace is committed to providing world-class orthodontic care in a friendly and comfortable atmosphere. And Embrace Orthodontics is also helping you find a smile that you will embrace forever. You can find out more by going to embracemn.com. 22-10, here is the score in the first half. 4:50 to go. The East Central Eagles just took their second timeout of the first half. Darren Vogt, the head coach for the Eagles. Kyle Allen, the head coach for the Dragons. Dragons wearing their home green uniforms with the white stripe down the side, white letters and numbers all outlined in black. The Eagles wearing their white away unis with the blue stripe down the side, their blue numbers and letters outlined in that East Central gray or silver, whichever one you'd like to call it. 4:50 to go, as I mentioned, and it's a 22-10, the lead here for Pine City. It's kind of been a slow start for both of these teams, and you'd expect to see a lot more points, especially from Pine City, but things just didn't get rolling the way they would have liked it to, and early on, I should say, the defense for East Central was just on top of things, and their offense did find a little bit of a rhythm there midway through this first half, but unfortunately kind of went a little bit cold, and now we get a foul call here on East Central as they went up for the rebound, and that's going to go against Dixon, his second, team's fourth, with 4:41 to go. Riley Cummings inbounds to Luke Wilson. Wilson trying to get around the defender Olsen, and he passes it off to Sidney. Sidney on the near side elbow. He's going to try and jump inside. Gets the defender to fall. Probably had a shot, and he tried to get it to his teammate Seals, but it was stolen. It was literally picked off by Zielinski. Zielinski, he'll take it up the court, loses his dribble, then gets it back. He passes it off now to Warren Carlson. Carlson on the far side. Gives it back to Zielinski. Zielinski at the top of the key, working inside, puts up a little floater. It's no good, and it's going to be rebounded there by Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson, he'll take it up on the far side. Now working back to the top of the key. A great ball handling there by Luke Wilson. He works inside. Oh, tried to give it off to his teammate. Maybe got a little too cute with that one. Now Zielinski works inside. Shot is up and no good. And now we're going to get a foul call. I think this is going to go against the Dragons. I think they're going to get Isaiah Haas for his second. The team's sixth. And Charles Osmus will check in for Isaiah Haas. And that's what the Dragons have the ability to do, is they sub in about 10 guys they work through. 9-10 guys. As now Jacob Dixon will put up a shot. It's no good. Rebounded here by Lamont Sidney. And he's going to work it up the court on the near side. Gets around one defender. And he's going to try and work inside. He stopped on his dribble. Give it off on the far side to Ashton Seals for three. No good. And that's an easy rebound there for Zielinski. Zielinski with his third rebound. It's 3.5 minutes to go. 22-10 is the lead here for the East Central Eagles. And Zielinski working inside. Gives it off to Jacob Dixon, who works it off the glass and in for two for Jacob Dixon. That makes it 22-12. A 10-point lead for the Dragons as Luke Wilson works it back up the court, guarded by Olsen, now guarded by Carlson. Gives it off to Lamont Sidney. Far side three is no good, and rebounded there by Zielinski. Zielinski will take it up the court on the near side. Trying to get past the defender Seals. He does. Works it to the basket. It's up and in for two by Zielinski, and now the Eagles starting to get their offense rolling. Lamont Sidney with it on the far side. Pass back to the near side here to Wilson. Wilson on the elbow, trying to get a screen from Cummings. It didn't work the way they would have hoped it would. Instead, he'll pass off far side for Charles Osmus. No good on the three. Rebounded again by Zielinski. And he'll take it up the court for the Eagles. Gets around Seals, step back, tried to go for the long two. Instead goes inside to Dixon. Dixon will put up a hook shot. No good off the front of the rim. Rebounded there by Charles Osmus. And he'll give it off to Luke Wilson on that far side with 2:22 to go. Luke Wilson trying to work inside, steps back, thought about the three, now gives it off to Osmus near far side corner. Now back to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson, great handles, works inside, gets the defender to miss, puts up a floater, it's in for two. 24-14 is the lead now for the Pine City Dragons as Zielinski will work it up the court on the near side. Zielinski slowly working his way up. Now trying to get past Ashton Seals. He gives it inside to Jacob Dixon, and Luke Wilson coming out of nowhere to knock that one out of bounds, so the Eagles will hold on to it, but Wilson making sure he's making it hard for the Eagles to do anything. Carlin will inbound here to Zielinski, up for three, and that's in. Zielinski will get the first three of the night to sink for the East Central Eagles, who trail by 7 now, 24-17. Quickly up court to Lamont Sidney. He works inside, tried to get it off the glass. It's no good. Jacob Dixon with the rebound. That's his third, 24-17, 1:40 to go here in the first half. Zielinski up the court, spins around Ashton Seal, gives it outside to Olsen. Olsen for three. It's in! Braden Olsen for three, and all of a sudden that big lead for Pine City shrinks down to 4. 24-20 with under a minute and a half to go here for the Dragons. It's Luke Wilson. Wilson on the near side trying to use his handles to get past the defenders. He works inside, got the defender to fall. That's Warren Carlson who slipped, and unfortunately, because of that slip, he's going to get called for the foul. That'll be the team's fifth, his first, and that will send, it's going to send Wilson to the line. They're going to call it a shooting foul. No, okay. I was confused. Luke Wilson was at the line to shoot a free throw, and that foul happened. Luke Wilson was at the line to shoot a free throw, but I was going to say, I didn't think that was a shooting foul, and it is not. So the Dragons try to fool the referees there. Didn't work that time, but maybe next time. Lamont Sidney gets the pass from Riley Cummings, and now over to Charles Osmus. Osmus wanted to go back to Sidney. Instead, he'll go to Luke Wilson on the near side elbow. Wilson trying to work around the defender Carlson, and he's just going to put up a floater. It's no good. Carlin Going to come down with the rebound for the Eagles. He gives it off on the far side to Zielinski. Now to Letexier. Letexier gets around Lamont Sidney, puts it up in for two, and Letexier makes it a 2-point game, 24-22. 50 seconds to go here in the first half. Luke Wilson on the far side works it up the court, gets past the defender Olsen. Now steps back past the perimeter. He gives it off to Charles Osmus. Osmus on the near side gives it to Seals. Seals going to work inside that perimeter. Now give it off to Wilson. Wilson back around on the near side. A double dribble there for Will. Interesting. I didn't see it, but the double dribble call is on Luke Wilson, so that will give the ball back here to the Eagles with a chance to tie or take the lead with 35 seconds to go in the first half, 24-22. They give us to Olsen on the far side. Now he'll give it off to Zielinski. He's going to be double teamed, gives it back to Olsen. Olsen could have had a chance at three. Instead, he pulls it down, gives it off now to Carlson on the far side. Carlson backs up, Hay on the perimeter, gives it off to Letexier. He nearly loses his dribble, but works to the far side, stops on his dribble, gives it back to Carlson. Carlson looks like they're going to work for that last second shot. Carlson gives it back to Zielinski. Zielinski is double teamed. He gets around one defender, gets around two, gives it off to Carlin. Nearly, that ball was tipped, and he just turns around, puts it up for two. My goodness, 24 all with 3 seconds to go. 2 and 1. The last second shot for Wilson does not fall. And how about that? Wow. At halftime, we are tied at 24. So the East Central Eagles go out and score 10 straight points to end this first half to tie it at 24. The Eagles trailed 24-14 at one point, and now they are tied at 24 as we end the first half of action here in Pine City. So again, this game on WCMPradio.com for now, and if you're waiting to hear it on the airwaves, you will. Right after Santa's Hotline has concluded, which should be pretty quickly here, and it'll be on 100.9 FM. So if you got people who are waiting to hear this game on the radio, just let them know it will be on 100.9 FM after Santa's Hotline. And again, if you haven't had the chance for your child to call in to talk to Santa, you still can. There's still time. It runs till 8 o'clock, so you can call the station at 320-629-7575. That's where the Santa's Hotline is taking place. Of course, Santa in studio taking calls from kids to hear what they would like to have for Christmas. Pretty cool opportunity there. But in our game here in Pine City, the Dragons are tied with the East Central Eagles here at halftime at 24. We'll take a commercial break here. Word from some of our fine sponsors. When we come back, I'll recap the first half and give you my keys to the game for the second half for both of these teams. Of course, you're listening to boys basketball here on WCMP.
The mushroom melt is back at A&W. How does this sound? Sautéed seasoned mushrooms and onions with melted Swiss cheese on your choice of a juicy burger or grilled chicken. Then add golden French fries and a medium soft drink. It's the mushroom melt and fries combo at A&W. Now, top it off with a classic A&W root beer float featuring vanilla soft serve and made fresh root beer, all in a frosty mug. Or how about the A&W Root Beer Freeze? Signature combos and delicious treats always at your local A&W restaurant in Pine City.
No appointment? No problem. Injuries and feeling ill don't always happen during normal business hours. That's why Wellia Health has urgency services open 7 days a week. Urgency Services in Pine City offers the care you need when you need it. Hours are now 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. No need to call or make an appointment. Just stop in. When tomorrow isn't soon enough and normal business hours just won't do, you can count on Wellia Health to be there for you. Live life well at Wellia Health.
Since 1967, Schmidt Construction, general contractor in Hinckley, has been where to go for all your building projects. Let Gerald Schmidt help you with designing, remodeling, or any new construction. Schmidt Construction specializes in residential home building, agricultural, industrial, and commercial buildings. With expert advice on all of your building projects and ideas, when you hire a contractor to take care of your building needs, you can't do better than Schmidt Construction, general contractor in Hinckley. 320-384-7901.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a four-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Isanti has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment. Highway 65 in Isanti. Or visit minnesotaequipment.com.
Hey, I'm Chad Greenway. When I was playing, I loved chasing down running backs. But you shouldn't have to chase your bank around when you're buying a home. Franzen Bank and Trust Mortgage Consultants will be with you stride for stride, like a linebacker on a running back, from pre-approval to closing and beyond. Let Franzen Bank guide you through the mortgage process. Learn more at franzenbank.com/get there. Franzen Bank and Trust. Real people, real results. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A&W Restaurant Pine City is still making fresh root beer, that signature item since 1919. It's still made fresh and on-site with real cane sugar and a blend of secret ingredients. It doesn't get any better than this. Their world-renowned A&W root beer is a classic treat, and they can top it off with creamy vanilla soft serve to be known as the famous A&W root beer float. Now that's smooth, tasty, and refreshing. An American iconic A&W root beer float. It never tasted so good. A&W Restaurant Pine City. Come grab your root beer float today.
Most Americans do not have a proper will or estate plan in place. Many of you listening have been putting off that important task for a long time. Stop waiting and contact Spear & Swanson today. Spear & Swanson can help you put together a tight legal estate plan to make sure the assets you've been working so hard to obtain get passed on to your loved ones in the way that best fits you. Spear & Swanson, attorneys at law in Pine City. Call 320-629-7586. That's 320-629-7586.
Choose the right divorce attorney. Spear & Swanson will make sure the judge knows your side of the story. Let them help you with your divorce, custody, child support, harassment, or orders for protection. They also handle DWIs and other legal matters. The right divorce attorney does make a difference. That's why you need to choose Spear & Swanson, attorneys at law in Pine City. Call 320-620-7586.
Back here on WCMPradio.com, or if you're on our YouTube, it's WCMP Sports 5. The Pine City Dragons and East Central Eagles are tied here at halftime, 24-24. The East Central Eagles went on a 10-0 run to end the first half. By the way, just across the road at the Pine City Civic Center, the Pine City Dragons are taking on the Princeton Tigers, and that is at the end of the first period, tied at 1 apiece. So we're tied over there at 1. So a bunch of ties going on right now. We're tied here at 24, tied over at the Pine City Civic Center between Pine City and Princeton at 1. But in this game, it's been kind of a slow start for both of these teams. The Dragons and the Eagles. Excuse me, between these two teams. And it's been interesting to see because it's been defense that has really stepped up here in the first half that really made things difficult for both of these offenses. Even when it looked like East Central was going to get things rolling, they got a little bit of momentum. They fell into a groove. They got things going on their side. The Pine City defense really just made it a problem for them to get anything easy. They could not get anything easy even when they found lanes to go through, to drive through, and even when they had an open shot, you had Luke Wilson or somebody else from Pine City just flying in out of nowhere to either knock the ball out of the hands or at least get, at the very least, a foul to make it hard for the Eagles to get an easy point. So for Pine City, it was a pretty clean first half. They only had 6 first half fouls. Of course, if you're Kyle Allen, you'll definitely want to clean that up. 5 for the East Central Eagles. But again, for the Dragons, they just couldn't find the open shots that they wanted. And give credit to East Central, they're playing kind of a man and a zone as well, and Pine City just hasn't been able to find the open shots that they would like, and when they have not been able to convert on those as often as they would have liked here in the first half. But I'm sure they again, it seemed like later on in that first half they started to get into a little bit of a rhythm, kind of like East Central did, but again, the defense for East Central really started to step up and make plays and just make it somewhat difficult for Pine City to find anything easy to shoot from, and give credit to East Central. They were finding those rebounds as well. So they're making it hard for Pine City to grab any offensive rebounds. In fact, there haven't been too many that the Dragons have grabbed on the offensive side of the ball. And it's kind of the same story for East Central. Not a lot of offensive rebounds to talk about here in the first half for for either side, really. And it's been the defensive rebounds for both of these teams that have really made the difference here in the first half. As we look at our stat leaders in the first half, it was Luke Wilson with 10 points, leading the way for Pine City, and leading the way for the East Central Eagles was Nathan Zielinski. He really went off there late in that first half. He started to get things going and made some moves and made some people miss and created his own lanes to the basket and really made some of these defenders twist it around, and they couldn't find him. And a good job by him. Leading the way rebound-wise was Zielinski. He had 5-4 for Ben Carlin. And I think as the game goes on, we'll see Ben Carlin get a lot more of those rebounds here in the second half. Rebound-wise for the Dragons, it was Riley Cummings, and it wasn't even close. He had about 7 of them in the first half. The next closest were Sidney or Wilson with 3. So pretty good there. We didn't see Riley Osman, or Cummings, goodness gracious, Riley Cummings, who led them in rebounds. Didn't really see him get on the board too often there in that first half, but it was kind of his job. You kind of seen it was his job to grab the ball, to grab those rebounds, and make sure he got it back for the team. He really did a good job of doing that, but unfortunately just not enough on the offensive side here for the Dragons, and that's why this game is tied at 24. And again, just give credit to the defenses in this game. That's really been the story. We've only seen 48 points here in the first half, which, I mean, for Pine City standards, is a low-scoring game. You know, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mind holding a team to 24 in the first half, but only scoring 24 for themselves is definitely, I wouldn't say necessarily disappointment, because I think they definitely scored when they had the opportunities, when they were open, but definitely want to score a lot more here in the second half and not allow East Central to go on that kind of a run again. Inbound pass, and Mason Charles going to take an early 3. That's no good. Rebounded here by Riley Cummings. He will continue with those rebounds, and Lamont Sidney takes in the pass. It's no good. He got the defender, Letexier, to get away, and no good. Rebounded by Carlin, and now he'll give it off to Zielinski, who's going to lead the team up the court. He gives it off to Letexier on the far side. Now to Carlson. Carlson top the key. Wanted to go to Letexier. He does. Letexier going to work inside on Haas. Letexier, that one nearly tied up, and now he'll get it off to Carlin. Carlin on the near side elbow. Going to drive inside. Stops on his drive. Far side corner. 3 for Carlson. No good. He gets his own rebound. Puts it up. No good. And it's going to be Isaiah Haas who comes down with the rebound. Carlson got his own rebound on that one. Now Mason Charles on the pass from Lamont Sidney. That's no good, and swatted out of the hands of Jacob Dixon. But that's going to be a foul on Lamont Sidney, as he got a little more than the ball on that one. So that is, they're going to, interesting. They're going to give that on Cummings. Weird. So they get that one called on Cummings, and I thought it was on Lamont, but Cummings is the guilty Dragon, and now Carlson working it inside. Warren Carlson will get the first points of the second half to give the Eagles the lead, 26-24. Wilson works it up the court here for the Dragons. He works towards that Dragon logo, trying to get around the defender Carlson. He'll give it off far side to Mason Charles. Charles with it, gives it into the far side corner. Cummings to Haas, to Charles, back to Cummings in that far side corner, back to Charles now. Charles going to work it towards the top of the key. He stops, gives it off to Cummings. It goes inside to Haas. Haas gives it off to Wilson. Wilson looks to his coach and now drives to the near side, gives it off to Charles. Charles gets around one defender, works it inside, now off to Haas on the near side corner. That's no good from 3, and that ball has just not been able to fall in for the Dragons here tonight from the perimeter. They're struggling with that, as rebound taken in by Letexier. He gives it off to Carlson on the far side. Now working inside to Dixon. Dixon trying to work on Sidney, and that ball is up for grabs. And then they're going to get a hold on Luke Wilson, who doesn't agree with the call. I've got to respectfully disagree with the call from the ref as well. Luke Wilson going to get called for his first foul, and he was just trying to tie up the defender, the Eagle on that one, trying to get a jump ball, and they're going to get him for a hold. Dixon working with it, gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski spins around, gives it off far side to Carlson, and Carlson gets bumped. He got bumped pretty hard there by Luke Wilson. And That'll be the Dragons' third here already of the second half. Luke Wilson second. As Carlin will inbound here to Dixon. Dixon will have it, gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski's double teamed, and now he'll pass it to Dixon. Dixon gets through a double team, gives it off to Carlin, who floats it in for two. Ben Carlin puts it up and in for two, who now has 6 points, and his team leads 28-24. Mason Charles will give it off the inbound to Luke Wilson. Wilson on the near side, trying to get around the defender Carlson. Nice spin move, gives it to Sidney. Sidney working on Carlin. He has a nice spin move to go inside, but passes it back outside to Luke Wilson. Wilson all the way across the court to Lamont Sidney, who puts it up for three. That is no good. Just haven't been able to get that three ball to fall here tonight, as Carlin will get another rebound for the East Central Eagles. Gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski works inside, back outside to Letexier. Stolen away by Haas. Haas will work it up the court. Inside, no good, and a foul call on the Eagles, as Haas was flying inside trying to put that one in. Doesn't, but the Eagles are going to get called for the foul here. I believe that's on Carlin, his first. Team's first in the second half, and Isaiah Haas will go to the line to shoot two. He's got 3 points here coming in the first half. Now he's at the line to shoot two. First one rattles around, but it does fall through. 28-25. Didn't see a substitution. Doesn't look like we have one. And Haas no good on the second opportunity, and the rebound there by Letexier. It's his fourth rebound, of course unofficially. 14:45 to go on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Letexier guarded by Haas. Gives it off to Dixon. Dixon will try and float this one up. No good. Rebounded by Cummings. He went up for that one, did Cummings, and he'll bring it down now up the court to Haas, to Lamont Sidney. Lamont Sidney, Euro step. That one is swatted away by Dixon, and Cummings was tripped on that one. And who will come up with it? Still up for grabs, and somehow Letexier is going to come away with it. And now we're going to get a foul call. I think that went on Haas. That's his third. Haas is going to come to sit on the bleachers, and Darren Fote is going to talk with Letexier. Got a little bit chippy down there, and rightfully so. This is a fun back and forth game. We get the fourth foul, team foul on the Dragons after that one, and checking in is Aiden Austinson for the Dragons for Isaiah Haas, and that pass is tipped, stolen away by Mason Charles. Mason Charles quickly up the court. And he's got to go up and over the defender. He does. Lays it in for two, and now it's a 1 point lead for the Eagles. They work it quickly up the court. It's Zielinski with it at the top of the key. His team leads by one, and this one's going to be stolen away by Austinson. Austinson with the steal. Slows it down. Behind the back, no good. Riley Cummings with the rebound, no good, and Ben Carlin will bring it down. Great opportunity there for the Dragons to retake the lead, but unfortunately just not able to convert. Zielinski going to work on Charles, and Charles, great defense there on Zielinski. Now with it is Olsen on the near side, going inside to Dixon, back outside to Olsen for three. No good on that one, and Lamont Sidney going to get the rebound, and then we get a whistle. It's going to go on the Eagles, Jacob Dixon, his third. There's a couple players in foul trouble here for both teams. And Letexier will check out. In for him is Warren Carlson. 28-27 is the lead here for East Central. We get a timeout called here by the East Central Eagles on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, your customized smile journey starts with a free consultation. The team at Embrace Orthodontics wants to make your journey as seamless and convenient as possible with custom braces or Invisalign. They will also do all the insurance heavy lifting for you. And if you don't have insurance, ask about financing options. They'll find a plan to fit your budget at EmbraceMN.com. 13:33 to go. The Dragons trail 28-27 here on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. And again, it's gotten a little chippy here as this second half has moved along. You kind of felt like it was going to get a little bit chippy there in that first half. It didn't. But here in the second half, these two teams getting a little more chippy now as Isaiah Haas took a foul for his third, and Kyle Allen will talk to his team. Darren Fote right now going to be talking with the referees, kind of asking kind of what's going on and seeing about I'm guessing the chippiness and what to do, or asking about why a foul was or wasn't called. Two fouls in the second half here for Luke Wilson, one for Haas and one for Cummings. On the other side, one for Dixon and Carlin. 14 fouls for Pine City, 2 for the Dragon, or for East Central. Buzzer has sounded, and both teams will work back out onto the court out of this timeout. Pine City Dragons trail by 1 here on their home court in this Great River Conference battle between the Dragons and the Eagles. Aiden Austinson will inbound here for the Dragons to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson working on Olsen. He's going to get past Olsen for a moment. Maybe got away with a shove there, but Wilson with it on the far side gets a screen from Cummings. Gives it off now to Austinson. Austinson finds a lane inside, gives it to Lamont Sidney, who wanted to go to Mason Charles. Instead, back outside to Austinson for 3. It's good! Plus a foul call on the Eagles. That is going to go against Dixon, his 4th. He's going to have to come to the bench. It's 3 for Austinson to give the Dragons a 30-28 lead, but now we're going to talk about it. No, it was not on Dixon. It was on Lamont Sidney. Really? Well, I didn't see what happened. But the basket will count. So Dixon will not get his 4th. It's on Lamont Sidney. Interesting. Either way, and that's going to be a foul. Warren Carlson ducked his head and ran it in to Mason Charles. You can't do that. Even you got to keep a cool head about you. That will definitely be on Warren Carlson. I don't know if he was trying to get away with it or what, or just frustrated, but I mean, he quite literally ducked his head like he was trying to be a running back running through the defender, but you can't do that. And he will be called for the foul. And that's unfortunate. I hope it was not a frustration. I hope he was just trying to make a move, and unfortunately it looked like more his head was dipping down trying to go through the defender, but it looked kind of on purpose. But I'm not gonna say that it was on purpose, even though Aiden Austinson, while I'm talking about that, is making just stupid moves on the defense. He gets around and gets it up and lays it in for 2, and now the Dragons have a lead of 32-28 with 12.5 minutes to go. Dixon gives it off to Warren Carlson. Carlson going to drive inside. Instead, he'll give it off to Olsen. Olsen on the far side. Going to pass it all the way across court here to Carlson. Carlson drives inside. Luke Wilson is there, and going to get called on the foul is Wilson. No. Yes? No? Maybe so? Yeah. Luke Wilson will get his 3rd here in the second half. But, okay. So Warren Carlson will go to the line to shoot 2. Wilson with his 3rd. Got a couple of players here for Pine City in some foul trouble. That one rattles in and out for Carlson. Probably one that should have gone in, but it didn't. Ramsey Kiernan will check in for Ben Carlin. As now Carlson, who missed his first, looks to get the second. He does. 32-29, a 3-point game here in this one with 12:15 to go. Aiden Austinson up the court on the near side, looks for a screen from Sidney. Instead, he works inside, puts up a little floater off the backboard, no good, and that ball is rebounded here by Dixon. Dixon with his 4th rebound. He'll give it off to Zielinski. Zielinski works up on the far side, looking for a screen from Dixon. He does, and Charles got around it. Gets back to Zielinski, to Warren Carlson, top of the key. Mishandled the dribble, gives it out to Kiernan, and that's going to go just behind Kiernan. Kiernan was coming inside. The pass went behind him. It goes out of bounds, and Pine City will catch a break on that one and get the ball back. They'll inbound it here on the backcourt. Cummings will inbound to Wilson. Luke Wilson shakes the defender, gets up court, stops on his drive, stays on that behind the perimeter. Oh, and then we're going to get an illegal screen. An illegal screen on Riley Cummings. That's his 2nd foul. Team's 7th now, and now with 17 fouls, you're going to have to be careful because you're going to put them into the 1-and-1 situation. I don't think it's a 1-and-1 right now because Dragons had possession. Yeah, it'll be white ball, but I don't think it's a 1-and-1 yet. Yeah, it looks like the Eagles will inbound it. So the Eagles will inbound it, and because it is not a 1-and-1 because the Pine City player had possession when the foul occurred. So that is why the Eagles are not at the line to shoot a 1-and-1. Zielinski in some trouble, gives it off now. Dixon at the top of the key. Now on the far side to Ramsey Kiernan. Kiernan back to Carlson. Carlson top of the key, driving inside, trying to work around the defender, and we're going to get a charge call on the Eagles. Carlson does not agree with it. I think that one was going to be good either way if they called it or if they didn't. So, yeah, I think that one would have been good either way. If they called it, it would have been good. If they didn't, it would have been good. It was so close. Luke Wilson will take it up the court now for the Dragons. He works towards the top of the key. He's going to take a long three. Step back three, no good. And easy rebound there for Braden Olson for the Eagles. And he'll give it off now to Ramsey Kiernan. Ramsey Kiernan has a lane down the near side, but nice job by Cummings to get back quickly. Gives off to Olson, inside to Warren Carlson. That's blocked by Lamont Sidney. Rejection. Lamont Sidney with his first block of the game, and a lengthy player is Lamont, but that's his first block of the evening. 10:55 to go, 32-29 is the lead here for Pine City. Kiernan will inbound to Letexier on the far side, and yeah, Aiden Austinson got a little too far in to Letexier, and Austinson will grab his first foul, the team's 8th, and now Letexier goes to the line for a 1-and-1. So the Eagles in the bonus now. They'll go and shoot a 1-and-1 at the line. Letexier, left-handed shot is no good. It's in and out, and getting the rebound there is Ashton Seals, and he'll give it off to Austinson up the court on the far side. Working on Letexier, looking for a screen now from Lamont Sidney. Pass it off to Luke Wilson. An extra long three, about NBA range. It's no good. Seals is right there for the rebound. He's in the near side corner, guarded well. Riley Cummings gets it out to Wilson, and beautiful pass inside to Cummings, who puts it up and in for two. Wilson on the assist there, and it's 34-29. Dixon gets it off now to Zielinski on that far side, trying to go inside for Dixon, but that well above his hands, and it's going to be stolen away here by Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson works it up the court, going inside, makes some nice moves. Riley Cummings couldn't grab it cleanly, and that's going to be leading to a missed shot, and rebounded there by Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson will put up a shot, no good, and Cummings, no, it's going to be Austinson who finally comes down with the rebound, and trying to settle things down is Kyle Allen. He'll call the timeout here for Pine City with 10:03 to go here in the second half. The Dragons lead 34-29. Between these two Great River Conference opponents, Dragons and the Eagles, on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, custom braces or Invisalign with 3 locations in Pine City, Lindstrom, and Cambridge. Also, Dr. Sievers over at Embrace Orthodontics is committed to providing world-class orthodontic care in a friendly and comfortable atmosphere. You can start today at EmbraceMN.com. Again, still 1-1 over there at the Pine City Civic Center between the Dragons and the Tigers in that Mississippi 8 conference game. Dragons, this is their first home game, and it's been a fun back-and-forth one. The Eagles not giving an inch of opportunity to the Dragons, and Dragons, again, I think it's more or less about missed opportunities for both of these teams, and both these teams just haven't been able to convert like they would have liked so far in this game, and that has led to the low scoring affair we have so far, but Dragons do have the lead here on their home court, a 5-point lead. It's now 3-1 over at the Pine City Civic Center. That changed quickly. So it was a 1-1 tie at the end of one, but now it's a 3-1 lead as, it's in and out for Charles Osmus. Rebounded there by Jacob Dixon. Charles Osmus was on that far side. Had an open three, and it went in and out. Osmus, he was their kind of off the bench 3 guy last year, and he made him pay. And now it's blocked from behind by Charles Osmus, and was taken away by the Dragons, and I think we're going to get a foul here on the Eagles. Or did someone step out of bounds? I think someone just stepped out of bounds. So I don't see a foul call, so looks like the Eagles may have stepped out of bounds when they touched the ball. And the Dragons will get it back. They work it up the court. Does Luke Wilson. Step back 3 again. Trying to get that to work. It misses everything. And it goes out of bounds. Last touched by Luke Wilson. Bram and Rush City are at half, and the Rush City boys lead over Bram 34-26, excuse me. As now the Eagles have it. Ramsey Kiernan gets it off to Jacob Dixon. Now to Olsen. Braden Olsen on that far side, fakes Wilson, and then gives it off to Letexier. Oh, and then we get a foul call on Austinson. His second and team's 9th. That will send Letexier to the line for 2. So a 3-1 lead for Pine City over there at the Pine City Civic Center over the Princeton Tigers in the second period, and a 36-24, let me recheck that. I believe that is wrong. It's a 34-26 lead over in Rush City for the Tigers over the Bram Bombers, and the first free throw is up and in from Letexier, so he's good on that one. He'll try to convert both of them here with this. Second one is up and no good, so the left-handed shot is good. 1 of 2, rebounded here by Austinson. Austinson will take it up the court quickly, stops on his drive, lets the defender get past him, and then he works. Thought about 3, instead he's going to drive inside over to Osmus for a long 3 on the opposite side. No good, rebounded there by Jacob Dixon for the East Central Eagles. He'll give it off to Letexier. Letexier on the near side, trying to get around Austinson. Fake the give to Kiernan, and then he gives it to Kiernan. Kiernan double teamed, and it's going to be stolen away here by Isaiah Haas. His third steal. Isaiah Haas gets off to Austinson. That's going to be knocked out of his hands by Kiernan, but they're going to get Kiernan for the foul as it's 34-30 lead here for Pine City. Kiernan, his first foul, team's 5th, and at the line to shoot 2 is Aiden Austinson. Aiden Austinson to shoot 2 here with 8:42 to go. The Dragons lead 34-30. His shot is up and good off the back of the rim. So now 35-30 on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, helping you find a smile you will embrace forever. Find out more at embracemn.com. Ben Carlin checks into the game for the East Central Eagles as Aiden Austinson made his first and makes the second. So he's 2 of 2 from the line there that time, 36-30 with 8:40 to go. Dragons with the lead here. Again, we're on 100.9 FM now after Santa's Hotline, and that ball knocked out. Who's going to come up with it? Still up for grabs. Ramsey Kiernan comes down with it, and he gives it off to Jacob Dixon, who dribbles it once, gives it off to Carlin. Now to Zielinski for 3. No good. And Mason Charles swats this one away. Zielinski going to come down with it, though, for the Eagles. Now to Carlin on the far side corner for 3. That's good. Ben Carlin for 3 for the Eagles. He'll bring it within 3. 36-33 is the score with 8:05 to go here in the second half. Luke Wilson on the near side. It's around a screen from Charles. Now off to Austinson for 3. That's going to come up short, and Mason Charles swats it out. The rebound there by Isaiah Haas. A long 3 for Luke Wilson. That is no good. Rebounded by Dixon. Jacob Dixon with the rebound, gives it off to Zielinski. Zielinski far side. Quick pass to Letexier. Keeps it alive, but it's going to be knocked away by Isaiah Haas, and it's going to go out of bounds. Last touched by Isaiah Haas of the Dragons. So the Eagles catch a break on that one. And the Eagles will hold on to it after a back and forth battle. And Carlin will inbound. He'll go all the way across court to Zielinski for 3. It's good. Zielinski rattles it home for 3, and we're tied at 36 here in this second half with 7:35 to go in the game. Aiden Austinson on the far side gets around a screen from Haas. He works inside. He's going to put up a little floater. That's been working for him tonight. No good. That rebound still up for grabs. Going to be taken in by Ben Carlin of the Eagles. Tied at 36 with 7.5 to go. Zielinski has it. Zielinski on the far side going to work on Charles. Gets around Charles now trying to drive to the basket. He does, up and in for 2. Zielinski breaks the tie. 38-36 is the score and the lead for East Central. 7:10 to go now. Aiden Austinson near side. Works it up the court. Working on Letexier. Gets around the screen of Charles. Now works it inside. Wanted a floater, but instead he'll give it off to Haas. Up, no good from 2. And the foul going to go there against Dixon. And I think Darren Vogt, the Eagles, not too pleased about that one, as that's going to be Dixon's 4th. Team's 6th, as now Isaiah Haas at the line to shoot 2. He's 1 for 2 of his last opportunity and missed the first one there, as we see Riley Cummings, the Mont Cindy check in for Mason Charles and Charles Osmus. Dragons down by 2 here in this second half with 7:02 to go, 38-36. They trail. Welcome into 100.9 FM, WCMP. And that second shot is no good as well, and then we're going to get a foul on the Dragons. And I believe they will shoot 2 now. No? It's going to be on Riley Cummings. His third, team's 10th, so that should be 2 for Jacob Dixon. It will be. Well, an opportunity here for the Eagles to go up by 4 with 7:01 to go. No good on the first one. 38-36, 7:01 to go on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Your customized smile journey starts with a free consultation. The team at Embrace Orthodontics wants to make your journey as seamless and inconvenient as possible with custom braces or Invisalign. Find out more at EmbraceMN.com. He makes the second one, does Dixon, and makes it a 3-point game. 39-36, ducking under 7 minutes to go here in the second half. Austinson, nice spin move around the Texier, gets a screen from Sidney. Now works it inside, wanted to go with the floor. Gives it off to Isaiah Haas on the far side. He couldn't get his feet planted for a 3. Instead, he'll give it off to Wilson. Gets a screen from Cummings. Wilson gives it off to Austinson. Austinson thought about 3. Instead, he drives inside. He wanted to go to Wilson. Instead, goes back outside to Isaiah Haas on the near side for 3. It's good! Isaiah Haas hits the 3, and he'll tie it at 39 with 6.5 minutes to go in this game. Zielinski, pass, going to be taken away by Luke. Oh, no, Riley Cummings got the steal, and then Jacob Dixon got the steal right back after Riley Cummings kept it alive. So back-to-back steals, and a 3 opportunity from the Eagles is no good. Rebounded here by Riley Cummings, who leads the team in rebounds. He'll give it off to Aiden Austinson. Austinson on the far side, trying to work around the Texier. The Texier gets around the screen, giving it off now to Wilson on the near side. Looking for a screen from Lamont Sidney. He wanted to go inside to Sidney, did Wilson. Instead, he'll give it back to Austinson. Working on the far side. Goes across, near side corner for 3 from Haas, no good. Lamont Sidney right there for the rebound, gives it back to Haas for 3, no good. And rebound, no good, off of an Eagle, so it stay with the Dragons. We're tied at 39 here in the second half with 5:54 to go. We're tied in this Great River Conference battle between the Dragons and the Eagles of East Central. Luke Wilson will look to inbound, and he'll get it to Lamont Sidney. Sidney guarded by Warren Carlson. He wants to give it off to Austinson. He will. He'll just hand it off. Look for a screen. He won't get the clean screen. Instead, gives off to Wilson in the near side corner for Isaiah Haas for 3. That's just off the mark. And getting the rebound is Zielinski. Oh, and then incidental contact there by Austinson. And we'll see who gets the foul. But Eagles will go to the line to shoot 2. It's going to be on Lamont Sidney. His second, team's, I think it's 12th now, but it's 10 plus. So the Eagles are in the double bonus, and it's Zielinski at the line to shoot 2. Probably not the guy you want at the line if you're the Dragons, because Zielinski's been pretty on all night. His shot is up, and and just as I say that, the announcer's jinx comes into play. Goes off the front of the rim, no good, with 5:27 to go on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Embrace Orthodontics, they'll do all the heavy insurance lifting for you, and if you don't have insurance, ask about financing options. They'll find a plan to fit your budget. Zielinski 0 for 2 on that try, and it's Lamont Sidney with the rebound. Quickly up the court goes Lamont Sidney. He tries to work inside, and a charge call on Sidney, and he does not agree with it, and I don't know. That one is so close for it could go either way, and yeah, I don't know. That one's so close. I would have been okay if it wasn't called, but I'm okay with it being called too. It's just so close. Zielinski working on Sidney. He works inside. Shot is up. No good. Riley Cummings does come down with the rebound. Quickly up the court goes Wilson. Wilson on the near side. Stops. Trying to get around one defender. Gets a screen. Now he's double teamed. He'll get it over to Austinson on the far side. A long 3. No good. But Isaiah Haas is right there for the rebound, working hard inside. His shot is up and no good. But he's going to go to the line and shoot 2 now as he was fouled. That'll be the 17th foul on the East Central Eagles, and it's going to go against Ben Carlin for his second. Team's 7th. And again, Isaiah Haas at the line to shoot 2. Jim went absolutely dead quiet there for his free throw attempt. It's no good. And now Kiernan will check out, and in for him comes Jacob Dixon. So Haas misses on the first attempt, and he'll go for 2 now. He'll try and make the second of 2, I should say. He missed on the first. Shot is up. And no good. It rims around and goes out, but rebounded there by Riley Cummings. And a 3 from Haas. So he makes them pay anyways. 42-39 is the score with 4:40 to go in the second half. Zielinski is going to throw it off of Lamont Sidney out of bounds. Zielinski just really had nowhere to go, so he tries to throw it off Lamont. Now, Sidney almost took that one away. Ben Carlin will look to inbound. Carlin, inbound. That one was nearly taken away, but taken in by Dixon. He gives it to Letexier all the way over to Carlson. He just comes down with it on his fingertips. Now to Letexier, who takes a long three. It is no good. Rebounded there by Isaiah Haas. Isaiah Haas comes down with it, gives it off to Austinson. Austinson in the front court now loses the ball. Letexier takes it away. In for two. And Austinson just let him go, and I think that was probably the smart thing because they're in the double bonus. You don't want to give them shots with the clock stopped. 42-41 is the score after the Letexier steal and to the rim, and now Austinson for three, and he's no good. Riley Cummings will keep it alive, though, on the rebound. He's in double-digit rebounds, and now Isaiah Haas up no good from two. Gets his own rebound. No good again. No foul call still as he got his own rebound, and Lamont Sidney for three. That's no good. Taken in by Jacob Dixon, and Lamont wanted a foul call, and looks like we're going to get I don't see a timeout call. Looks like we're just going to get a substitution. Yeah, I think it's just a substitution time. So no one's taking a timeout. So substitution time there, and Eagles will have it. It's Warren Carlson who works it. Gets it off to Letexier. Letexier now to Olsen. Olsen back to Letexier on the far side. Letexier back to Olsen. Olsen trying to go back to Letexier. Instead he goes all the way across court to Carlson. Carlson works it inside. Trying to put it up for two. It's no good. On the line, but goes back to the Dragons. And well, I don't know. Warren Carlson doesn't agree, and I think I got to agree with him on that one because I thought that was out by Cummings. I thought Cummings last touched it, but they do not agree with me, as now Cummings will inbound it to Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson up the court quickly on that far side, looking for a screen from Sidney. And give credit to Olsen. He works around the screen. Now to Austinson. Austinson looking for a screen from Cummings. Gets the screen. Thought about a floater. Instead gives it off far side for Isaiah Haas for three. That's no good. Cummings, another rebound. And he now gives it off to Austinson. Austinson gives it off to Wilson. Wilson's double team. Fakes a no good on the three. Again, rebound for Cummings. Isaiah Haas a three. It's no good. And we're going to get an illegal screen, I believe, on the Dragons. And they do not agree with it. But it will be on Cummings, his fourth, with 2:50 to go here in the game. So Letexier will go to line to shoot two. Might be some chirping going on down there between the two teams. 42-41, Dragons with the lead with 2:50 to go here in the game. Letexier at the line to shoot two. And I'm not 100% sure what just happened there. But the ball's going to go the other way. Maybe we got a foul on both sides? I don't know. I do not know. Oh, they're going to inbound it. Okay, so they're going to inbound it is what happened. So because Pine City had possession, East Central will have to inbound. They won't just get to go to the line. And then a steal by the Pine City Dragons, and they're going to get called for the foul. Jacob Dixon had it stolen away by Sidney, and it is going to go against Luke Wilson. That's going to be his fourth. So Jacob Dixon will be at the line to shoot two. Luke Wilson not happy with the call. 2:38 to go, 42-41. Shot is up. No good. So now the Eagles, can only tie it here. 2:38 to go, 42-41. In Game Day Gilman bringing the action here on 100.9 FM WCMP. Shot is up and no good from Dixon. Lamont Sidney going to come down with the rebound. He's nearing double digits in the rebound department as well. Taking it up the court is Austinson on the near side. Trying to get a screen, doesn't. Olsen works around the screen, gives it off to Wilson. Now does Austinson. Wilson gets a screen from Charles. Wilson gives it off to Austinson. Thought about three. Haas in the corner gives it back to Austinson. Austinson guarded well, and he's going to get a screen from Sidney. Back out to Sidney. Sidney thought about three, and now gives it off to Austinson again. Austinson, screen, he falls, and they're going to call travel. So Austinson, as he had the ball, he was kind of tripped up and fell, and I think Coach Kyle Allen would like a foul call on that one, but I think it was incidental contact, so I like the no call there. But it is a travel, and the ball will go back to the Eagles. Olsen gives it back to Letexier. Letexier, he found a lane. He's going to drive to the basket, puts it up, and in for two! And the Eagles have the lead, 43-42, 2 minutes to go, Luke Wilson driving. Warren Carlson right behind him. Isaiah Haas, he works it inside the paint. Gives it back out to Austinson. Austinson trying to work around the defender. Now gives it back to Wilson. Wilson trying to find something open. Gives it to Austinson on the far side. To Mason Charles. A long three. It's just off the mark. Isaiah Haas with the rebound. Up. No good. And no foul call on Dixon. And I'm super surprised that they did not get a foul call on Jacob Dixon. But now we're going to get a foul call on Isaiah Haas. That's his fourth. My goodness. Don't agree with it. I thought Dixon clearly fouled Haas on his way up for that shot. They say no, and Dixon did get the rebound. And he's going to go to the line to shoot two. 1:29 to go. Eagles with a 1-point lead. It's good. So Dixon is good on the first. (44-42). Dixon has a chance to make it a 3-point lead. He cannot. Ball's up for grabs. Rebounded by Austinson. Austinson will get it. And we're going to get it, I think, a foul call. On Carlson of the Eagles. So going to shoot a 1-and-1 now is Austinson. That's Carlson's fourth foul. Team's eighth. Austinson to shoot a 1-and-1, and if he can make both here, that is huge. He makes the first to bring it within one. 1:23 to go, and then Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Custom braces are Invisalign with 3 locations: Pine City, Lynchburg, and Cambridge. 1:23 to go. East Central holds a 44-43 lead. Shot is, no good. Rebounded by Letexier. And you can bet that they're going to try and dribble most of this clock out. 1:15 to go. Eagles lead by 1, 44-43. Warren Carlson gets around Isaiah Haas. Puts up a shot. It's in. Warren Carlson with 2. And that makes it a 3-point lead, 43-46. Luke Wilson gets the inbound from Isaiah Haas. Wilson going to have to work up the court quickly. Now under a minute we go. Luke Wilson has it. He has it on the far side. Gets around one defender. Now going to work inside. Pass it out. Isaiah Haas for 3 to tie it. He does. Isaiah Haas for 3 ties it with under 45 seconds to go. Letexier works up the court quickly, gives it off here to Warren Carlson. Warren Carlson going to drive inside. Shot is up, no good, but a foul call here on Pine City. I believe that's going to be Austinson. It is going to be on Austinson. His third. Of course, they are in the double bonus, so Warren Carlson at the line to shoot 2. Game tied at 46. It's good from Carlson. 47-46, 39 seconds to go. Carlson made the first. If he can make both, again, it's huge. No good. No good on the second. Oh, no! Rebounded there by Zielinski. Lamont had a chance at it. He couldn't grab it cleanly, and then a foul, I believe. That's going to be on Lamont. It is. That'll send them back to the line. Lamont with his 4th. You got 4 players with 4 fouls here for Pine City. 47-46, 36 seconds to go on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. My goodness gracious. 1-point lead here for the Eagles on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Dr. Sievers is committed to providing world-class orthodontic care in a friendly and comfortable atmosphere. Of course, they're also helping you find a smile you will embrace forever. Find out more at embracemn.com. A 1-point lead here for the Eagles, 47-46 with 36 seconds to go in the game. And this should be a fun finish. Well, the Dragons trying to get themselves rolling here with 36 seconds to go, but East Central is going to be at the line to shoot 2. Again, it was a 3-1 lead for the Dragons here in the second period of that hockey game. Try and keep you updated on all those games, but right now we're more concerned about this game in front of us right now. Dragons and the Eagles in a battle. The Eagles lead by 1, and this would be huge for the Eagles if they could manage to get a win here on the road over Pine City. It is Zielinski who will be at the line to shoot 2 for the Eagles. And again, probably not the guy you want at the line if you're the Dragons. He's been pretty good all night. Shot is up. Oh, my goodness. You talk about the rim being kind. It bounced off the back of the rim and went straight through. He was good on his first. And good on his second. He'll make it a 3-point lead for the Eagles. Luke Wilson up the court with it with 32 seconds to go. Wilson to Austinson to Haas. Haas for 3. I think that one was tipped. Rebounded here by Letexier. And you got a foul, I think, with 20 seconds to go. Warren Carlson probably would have been the guy to foul if he wanted to. 17, 16, 50. Stolen away by Lamont Sidney. Great play there by Sidney. And now a timeout called here by Pine City. What a clutch play there by Lamont Sidney. Coming up with the steal right when his team needed it. Lamont Sidney, a huge play there. He stepped in that passing lane and tipped the ball and got the ball stolen away back for his team, and that is huge because there were 13 seconds left and running, and it didn't look like East Central was going to give any opportunity to the Dragons to get a foul. 13 seconds to go. Dragons trail by 3, 49-46 on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. Your customized smile journey starts with a free consultation. The team at Embrace Orthodontics wants to make your journey as seamless and convenient as possible with custom braces or Invisalign. Find out more at embracemn.com. We're coming down to the wire here in this Great River Conference battle between the Dragons and the Eagles here at Pine City High School. Beneath the Game Day Come bringing you the action on 100.9 FM, WCMPradio.com. It's been a fun one. It's been back and forth. It's been interesting, and for the Dragons, unfortunately, the Eagles have led at the end of both halves, and they do again here. Or I shouldn't say led. They were tied at halftime. My bad. 24-24. It's been such a back-and-forth game. I forgot about the first half, really. It's been so fun to watch. And, again, East Central went on a 10-0 run to end that first half to tie it at 24, and that definitely turned the tide here for this second half. And Eagles with a 3-point lead over the Dragons with 13 seconds to go, 13.3 to be exact. Luke Wilson will get set to inbound. Get it to Austinson. Austinson's going to work it up the court with 10 seconds to go. They're going to have to get this last second shot. Trying to set up the 3. Austinson's got to go somewhere with it with 4 seconds left. Pine City's going to have to call another timeout. They were forced to. 4.5 seconds to go. Dragons will use another timeout here with 4.5 seconds left on that Embrace Orthodontics scoreboard. East Central has not given an inch of space to the Dragons here to work with. They've not had any kind of open shots. The Dragons, with 4.5 seconds left, need 3. I mean, the ideal opportunity to end the game would be a 3-point shot that goes through, and then you get a foul call for the chance to get a free throw in to take a 1-point lead and then have the time maybe with, under a second left. That would be the ideal thing. I mean, that would be the perfect scenario to have happen, but this game's been anything from perfect for these two teams, and I love it because it's been so back and forth. And, of course, both these teams are going to want to clean things up quite a bit as they move forward in the season. But, man, if you've been watching or listening to this game, it's been a fun one. Pine City held a 10-point lead going into halftime. But right before halftime, East Central went on a 10-point run to tie it at 24, and that has been how it has been throughout the second half have been tied. One team will take a lead, and the other team will tie it, and they'll take a lead, and then they'll tie it, and now East Central has a 3-point lead with 4.5 seconds to go. And let's see what these two teams try and do with 4.5 seconds left. Inbound to Austinson, 2.5 seconds to go. Now to Luke Wilson, who'll put up a shot. No good, and East Central is going to come away with the victory here in this one, 49-46. So the Dragons fall at home to the East Central Eagles, 49-46. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Boys
The
Basketball.
mushroom melt is back
FM,
at A&W. How does this sound? Sautéed seasoned mushrooms and onions with melted Swiss cheese on your choice of a juicy burger or grilled chicken. Then add golden French fries and a medium soft drink. It's the mushroom melt and fries combo at A&W. Now, top it off with a classic A&W root beer float featuring vanilla soft serve and made fresh root beer, all in a frosty mug. Or how about the A&W root beer freeze? Signature combos and delicious treats always at your local A&W restaurant in Pine City.
No appointment? No problem. Injuries and feeling ill don't always happen during normal business hours. That's why Wellia Health has urgency services open 7 days a week. Urgency Services in Pine City offers the care you need when you need it. Hours are now 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. No need to call or make an appointment. Just stop in. When tomorrow isn't soon enough and normal business hours just won't do, you can count on Wellia Health to be there for you. Live life well at Wellia Health.
Since 1967, Schmidt Construction, general contractor in Hinckley, has been where to go for all your building projects. Let Gerald Schmidt help you with designing, remodeling, or any new construction. Schmidt Construction specializes in residential home building, agricultural, industrial, and commercial buildings. With expert advice on all of your building projects and ideas. When you hire a contractor to take care of your building needs, you can't do better than Schmidt Construction, general contractor in Hinckley. 320-384-7901.
Are you interested in a technical degree that can quickly help you land your dream career? Or maybe you've always dreamed of going to a 4-year college, but you'd like to start close to home. Either way, Pine Technical and Community College has you covered. PTCC offers more than 50 degrees in hot fields like healthcare information technology, advanced manufacturing, and business. PTCC is now accepting applications. Financial aid may be available online at pine.edu. Starting out or starting over, find your future at Pine Technical and Community College.
It's time to start pushing snow. Sorry, just the messenger. Thankfully, Minnesota Equipment in Ice Santee has affordable machines to do the heavy lifting. Any size property. Toro and Aaron's walk behind snow blowers. Oh, you got land, huh? How about John Deere lawn and garden tractors? Or a compact utility tractor? Minnesota Equipment has them in stock. Snow removal doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not if you get into Minnesota Equipment. Highway 65 in Ice Santee. Or visit minnesotaequipment.com.
Back here on 100.9 FM WCMP, the Dragons fall to the East Central Eagles 49-46. We are now joined by our A&W player of the game, Ashton Seals. Ashton, first of all, how did it feel to get back out there in front of the home fans here tonight?
It felt pretty good. I'm excited to come back next game. I think be better if the student section was a little bit louder, but it's always nice to be at home.
Absolutely. And what did you take away from this game? It's not the outcome that you guys would have wanted, but what did you take away from it?
There's a few things that the team as a whole need to work on, and stuff as myself, tandem, just a little bit of a new role, but I'm excited to come back and do it again.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations on being our A&W player of the game.
Thank you.
Again, that was Ashton Seals, our A&W player of the game. We're now joined by the head coach of this Pine City Dragons basketball team. Coach, it was a tough one here. Kind of got off to a slow start for both these teams, but it was really fun. It was really close throughout the whole thing. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, you know, we got when you got two good teams that get to come in and play each other, and conference game, two guys that know each other really well, you know, you don't hide a lot. And so, you know, everyone knows each other's tricks and everyone knows what they're trying to accomplish. And you both get an opportunity to go out and try to accomplish your game plan against the other.
Absolutely, and I talked with Coach Fote here before the game, and you guys talk often. You go to the summer camps together, so these two teams know each other pretty well. I mean, how hard is it to try and come up with something that the other hasn't seen?
You don't. You just don't. You try to be better at what you do than what they do. And tonight they were better at their game than we were at ours. And you know, the nice part of the conference is you get another shot at it. So It's early still. We got a lot of growing to do as a group. We have a lot of new faces taking on some big roles, but we're excited to let them have that opportunity. We're excited to give them that and see what we can make out of it.
Of course, not the outcome you would have wanted, but taking away from this game, what did you like and what would you like to see improve?
You know, we never gave in, which was good. You never want to see a team give in one way or the other, and of course the same could be said for East Central tonight as well. You know, two teams that refuse to lose. You know, we got a lot of little things to work on. We're really trying hard to preach the little things, work on doing all the little things correctly. And the more that we're able to do that consistently, the hope is the more success we're going to see.
And you talk about new guys taking on new roles. You've only now played 2 games, 1 game coming into this one. I got to imagine that the feeling is that as the more games you guys play, it's going to get better and these guys are going to mesh a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, these guys are a fun group. You know, they're you know, there's nothing worrying about bonding or anything like that. They're a fun-loving group of guys, and you know, our job is to put them in the best position possible to win and do everything we can to make that happen.
And talk about what's coming up next here for the Dragons.
So I believe we got St. Francis next week. They're going to come here to the Den. Again, big-time challenge. You know, you got a 3A school with a kid with a full ride Division I scholarship, and they're good. So we're going to have to lick our wounds real quick and turn around and play again.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me, and look forward to calling that game next week.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you for all your coverage.
Absolutely. That, again, was head coach Kyle Allen of the Pine City Dragons. Thanks so much to him for joining us, as well as our A&W player of the game. That was Ashton Seals, who came in and was the player of the game. He had 2 points in this game with 3 rebounds, and he did unfortunately grab a foul, but that wasn't until the first half, and he played pretty well. You know, a lot of times we see the player of the game isn't somebody who gets all the stats. It doesn't have a gaudy stat number on the scoreboard, but what he did well was just be a good teammate. He was out there, he was grinding the whole time. You know, he did a good job of passing the ball, too. He really did a good job of just being out there, being a good teammate, and just doing what was asked of him. And I think, again, that is 100% why he is the A&W player of the game. Just did a really good job tonight. Again, unofficially only 2 points, but, again, such a good performance from him, even off the ball. Leading the way, though, for the Dragons was Isaiah Haas. He came alive in the second half with 10 points, and he winds up with 13. 10 for Luke Wilson. He was unable to get on the board here in the second half after scoring 10 in the first. So it was tough because East Central really guarded him well. They knew that he's the ball handler for this Dragons team, and they knew that what he can do if you let him stay open for too long, and they managed to keep him off the board here in the second half, as well as Lamont Sidney, who only had 7 points unofficially. He was held off the board in the second half, and he wound up with 7 rebounds, really came alive on the boards in the second half. Unfortunately, he, along with Riley Cummings, Luke Wilson, and Isaiah Haas, all grabbed 4 fouls. He played a pretty clean game up into the second half. He had all 4 come in the second half, and it was really tough. It got a little bit chippy, and these guys were battling for the rebounds. I mean, there was no shortage of those guys battling for the rebounds. They wanted it just as much as the other guy, and it's so tough that sometimes that's what happens when you're aggressive trying to get those rebounds, is that you do grab those fouls. So 7 points, as I mentioned, for Lamont Sidney, 8 for Aiden Austinson, who came in and played really well. He did hit a 3 there in this second half. And then you have 4 points for Riley Cummings, 2 for Mason Charles, and Ashton Seals. Leading the way rebounding was Riley Cummings with unofficially 16 rebounds here in this game. And I mean, he was just all over grabbing those rebounds. On the other side, for the East Central Eagles, they get the victory, and leading the way for them was Nathan Zielinski, who came and led the team with 16 points, 9 for Ben Carlin, 7 for Xavier Letexier, 6 for both Warren Carlson and Jacob Dixon, and 5 for Braden Olson. Leading the way was Jacob Dixon with 10 rebounds, then Ben Carlin with 8, 7 for both Zielinski and Letexier. Of course, those are unofficial numbers as well. This was a fun one to be a part of. The Pine City Dragons, East Central Eagles doing an early Great River Conference battle here tonight between these two teams. Again, Pine City came in with only playing 1 game, and that was against Painesville, in which they fell 60-48. And so this is only the second game that they've played. And last year, a big senior group graduated, so this senior group and the younger guys have got to kind of mesh a little bit, and they'll figure it out. You know, this is, again, only the second game that they have played together. So I'm sure as the season goes along, as they get more games in, and again, they're playing a pretty tough St. Francis team next week. So as they play these tough teams, as they play against these really good teams as well, they'll learn and they'll mesh. And that's how I think that you learn, and you learn to mesh is by playing these tough teams, playing against these teams who are going to give you battles, playing against these teams who you're going to possibly see in the section playoffs that are going to be those tough teams to beat. And I think that's how you do, not only you mesh better, but you also learn. You learn how, what your strengths are as a team. You learn what you might not do as well as a team. So I think, for Pine City, they'll be just fine. They're going to learn as the season goes along, and as the season goes along, we're just going to see them get better and better and better with each and every game. And unfortunately, it stings tonight because they fell at home against a conference opponent in the East Central Eagles. But credit to East Central, man, their defense was just outstanding tonight. They did a good job of keeping the ball handlers out of the basket. That's Luke Wilson and Lamont Sidney. They really kept them under wraps, and that's so tough because Luke Wilson, man, we know how well he can do. We know how much he can hurt you, but he was kept off the board here in the second half, as was Lamont Sidney. And Lamont Sidney, he was playing tough tonight. He grabbed a couple rebounds and probably has more than I had for him, but man, he was flying around as well. So you could tell, like Coach Allen said, these guys did not give up. They did not lay their heads down and just say, oh, well, it's over. No, they came out and fought till the very end. Unfortunately for Luke Wilson, he couldn't get a clean look at the final buzzer beater to try and tie it. So, unfortunately, the Dragons do fall here in this one, 49-46 to the East Central Eagles. But credit again to East Central for coming in and getting the victory, 49-46. Over in the Pine City Princeton hockey game just across the road at the Pine City Civic Center, it's tied at 3. So Pine City once had a 3-1 lead there in the second period. Now it's tied at 3 going into the third period. So that one should be a fun one. Wrapping up there, the Mississippi 8 Conference, those two teams going at it. Again, the Pine City Dragons and Princeton Tigers tied at 3 going into the third period. In our game, the Pine City Dragons fall to the East Central Eagles 46-49. I want to thank all of you for tuning in here this evening. Thanks so much for tuning in. It means so much to us because without anybody listening or tuning in, well, we don't have a reason to come out here. So thanks so much to all of you who tuned in. Thanks so much to all of our fine sponsors who sponsor this broadcast. If we don't have these sponsors, we literally can't come out and do any of these games. So thanks so much to all of our fine sponsors. Thanks so much to our A&W player of the game joining us, Ashton Seals, and Coach Allen joining us for the post-game interview. And we will be sure to be back here. I believe we're going to be back here next week when they do take on St. Francis, so stay tuned for that. That'll wrap our action up for this weekend. Of course, you can tune in to 106.5 FM, AM 1350 to listen to that Pine City Princeton hockey game, or maybe 95.5 FM to hear the end of the Rush City Bram boys basketball game. And again, we've got plenty coming up for you next week. That'll end it for this week's action. We'll be back next week with more basketball, more hockey action on 100.9, 106.5 and 95.5. So, of course, stay tuned to the morning shows on 95.5 FM with Rock and Robin Riley at 7:30 and 8:30, and on 100.9 FM with Joshua Miron for your sports updates at 7:45 and 8:45. And that's the times and places you can hear your sports updates from tonight's games as well as the other local teams in the listening area. We'll get you the updated scores from those as well. The final again here in this one, the East Central Eagles get the victory over the Pine City Dragons, 49-46. Again, want to thank all of you for tuning in here tonight. Want to thank all of our fine sponsors for sponsoring this broadcast. Can't do it without them, so thank you so much to all of our fine sponsors. Remember to be kind to everyone. You never know what someone is going through, and your kindness could really make their day. Again, the final here in this one, East Central gets a victory over Pine City, 49-46. For WCMP, I'm Ethan Game Day Gilman. Have a great rest of your night and a great weekend.